Welcome into part 2 of our AggieMEDIA Welcome Back special as students are still arriving on campus, coming back from 2 weeks off on holiday break and getting ready to embrace the promise of the second half of the 2024-25 school year. And many of them, our seniors, will be heading off this year into the promise of the unlimited promise of their future. So this is our Welcome Back special. I'm Tony Ballman, Public Information Officer here at the South Carolina Governor's School for Agriculture. And as I said before, it's a tremendous privilege for me to work alongside a really talented group of students who have embraced the challenge of being the storytellers for this campus. I'm sort of like the old storyteller, kind of the sage at the top of the mountain in the, the bed sheet or something, kind of just telling the stories, kind of guiding them. But I really have tried to empower our student media team, our AggieMEDIA team, to be the principal storytellers for our school. And it's a privilege to work with them. So our part 1 of our special, our Welcome Back special, took us through the end of the 23-24 school year and got us into summer. And now we're going to pick up the second half, part 2 of 2024 in our year in review. And one of the things about our campus is that we're not insulated and we're not isolated. Our gates are open to all variety of field trips and summer camps. Summer camps are a huge part of what we do here in the summer. When the students go home to spend time with their families, we have a wide variety of summer camps that are presented by our outreach department. And so as we get into part 2 of our year in review, we are in summertime. We're in last summer, and we want to take a look at the importance of the summer camps and the field trips here on the South Carolina Governor's School for Agriculture as a part of our year in review.
So the outreach portion of the school was created so that we were able to give back to the community in some sort of capacity, and that's where the idea of the field trips came up. We invite schools across the state and some from even out of state that might not have agriculture programs in their counties. We invite them to come in, spend the day with us. They get to do an ag lesson, get to learn a little bit about our campus life, and hopefully they take away some sort of new ag knowledge with them.
So it's super important for students to come and visit our classrooms because they get to immerse themselves in agriculture where they wouldn't. They also gives our students here on campus the opportunity to work on ag ed skills if they plan to go into that in college. So our students today are learning about the basic needs of a plant. So they're going over the acronym LAWNS. So for LAWNS, it states that light, air, water, nutrients, and space are the 5 qualities that are needed for a plant to survive.
So we have a homeschool group called Growing in Nature, and we are located in the greater Greenwood area, and we're always looking for activities to encourage them to grow and learn in nature and to do things that are hands-on if possible. So this is very much to that aspect, and we have done a field trip here before where we did the cow tagging. And then we just figured, kind of an annual thing. New people come into our homeschool group each year, so they might not have been familiar with John Della Howe, might not know what it's about, might not know what you have to offer. So it gives us the opportunity to bring them, expose them to it, and let our kids grow and be nurtured at the same time. For me, I want my child to know where their food comes from. They need to know about how to grow their own food. They need to know what animals eat, what a healthy animal should eat. So that they can eat healthy and be nurtured healthy. That's just my personal, as a mom. As a group, I think it's important to know and be hands-on in that so that our children don't lose that generational gap that seems to be happening with that disconnect from people with their food and their life source. We really don't need anything technology-wise. What we need on this earth is what's in the earth. So we need to know how to grow it, how to preserve it, how to carry that through to the next generation and not lose that link.
If someone is interested in setting up a field trip experience, you can go to our website and our contact information is on there under the Education Center tab. You reach out via email or phone call, and we'll set up your field trip experience.
Mrs. Miller and her group do a tremendous job with the outreach, welcoming field trips and organizing those summer camps. And another group of summer camps will be kicked off this summer. And so watch for those announcements on our new website. Well, as we segued out of summer of 2024 and segued into the new school year, August rolled around, and an essential part of what we do here at the Governor's School for Agriculture is work-based learning. Our students get a lot of hands-on learning here at the Governor's School, and we went out right in August, right at the very beginning of the school year, and it's kind of hard to believe that we were just a half a month into the school year, and we had the opportunity to cover some work-based learning programs that were going on. And so let's go back to August of 2024 in our year in review and take a look at the value of work-based learning on the South Carolina Governor's School for Agriculture campus.
We're pressure washing the barn, getting the old paint off. We use the equipment called the boom lift, which it raises up to a certain height, and so we can actually get to the height that we want it to. It gets up to 45 feet up in the air.
We bring the pressure washer out there on the boom lift with us, and basically we go one section at a time, basically trying to chip as much paint off the wood as we can, because later on we're going to be repainting the entire pig barn.
Well, for me it's kind of hard because, as you can see, I'm tiny, and the pressure washer just takes control of me, basically. But I try my best. Of course, there's a lot of pressure, so it pushes you back.
The work-based learning is basically where you can go with farm staff and see what they do and learn all sorts of new things. Or if you have a job that's off campus, you can get a special pass for that, so you can be able to go to work while you're at school. And it's just a great opportunity to learn how to do things you've never done before. Well, basically it gives me a good opportunity to learn how to repaint things. Knocking all the paint off, I mean, we're gonna have to repaint it. And also this is good if I ever need to do another job related to this, for anything, whether that's repainting my own house or repainting someone else's house.
A look back at our first story of the 2024-2025 school year, and that was our work-based learning program. Tremendous work by those students. Two of them have actually already taken early graduation. So work-based learning is so much an essential part of what we do here. In September of 2024, well, the biggest story arguably in the 228-year history of this institution occurred late in September. But right before that event that changed the face of the Governor's School for Agriculture campus forever, we had a very important visitor to our campus. The South Carolina Superintendent of Education, Ellen Weaver, spent the day with our staff and our students, and our students here at the AggieMEDIA had the opportunity to sit with Superintendent Weaver right over there, right at the studio, right over my shoulder, here in the Carolinas Field, Forest, and Water studio, and talk with her, do an episode of our podcast, which you can find on our YouTube channel. But Bella Tench and Casey Conley, they interviewed Ellen Weaver during her visit here to the South Carolina Governor's School for Agriculture at John Delahowe to talk about education in South Carolina and how agricultural education fits into that scheme.
What I've experienced here in my tour today is students who are getting experiential hands-on learning. Like, I honestly have never seen anywhere else in another education environment. I mean, just everything that you all are able to do is just, I mean, it's unbelievable. And even the technology piece, right? I think people in your generation need to understand these new tractors they're making, they're high tech.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so, I mean, there's even a technology component to ag that maybe might not have been there previously. But I mean, it really is an industry of the future that can support so many different interests. And that's definitely what I've seen here today in the students. And if I can, the other thing that I'd love to say about your fellow students that I've met here today is just how articulate and passionate everybody is about what they do. They talk so knowledgeably about their SAE and about the passion that they have to succeed, to be part of a team. And maybe they might have gotten lost in their former school if it was a big school, but it's like here they're one of 81 students and you can be somebody, right?
Absolutely. You can stand out from the crowd and not just fall into the background.
Absolutely.
And to kind of tie along with like y'all talking about the agriculture and how it helps the economy, how do you think like our programs like the Governor's School for Agriculture and other high school ag classes, how can that help the economy?
Well, I really think that creating customized pathways for students is how we build not only the education ecosystem of the future, but the economy of the future. I don't have my pin on right now, but our logo at the State Department of Education takes our state's iconic palmetto tree, which is a symbol of hope and resilience in our state, and it roots that tree in the pages of a book. And the symbolism behind that is that our state's future, be it economic future, civic future, everything about our state's future is rooted in the need for a great education for our students. And so as I think about how ag education ties into the larger economy, in addition to just providing the practical skills needed to support our state's #1 industry, over $50 billion of economic impact every year. I mean, like, that's huge, right? It's also creating a flourishing future for our entire state by building a food supply that's sustainable, by stewarding the incredible natural resources that we have here. I mean, I'm a girl from the mountains up in Greenville, but our incredible Midlands, the pine forests, and then on down to the coast and the beautiful beaches that we have here. I mean, we have an amazing state. And so ag education is about stewarding that responsibly and wisely so that that is here for generations to come.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Ellen Weaver, the Superintendent of Education here in South Carolina, who visited with our Bella Tench and Casey Conley right here on the Carolinas Field, Forest, and Waters set. Also in September, we had a group of our students Joe, not too far up the road, about 15 miles up the road to Abbeville, to compete in the Greenwood County agricultural show. It had to be moved to Abbeville County. And we went over and our AggieMEDIA team caught up with our goat show team and gave an inside look at the world of agricultural livestock showing.
I grew up showing livestock for years, and so when I got into teaching, I didn't understand the aspect that I was going to give to kids. A lot of the kids that we get come from homes and they're in urban areas, so they don't get to do this opportunity, and getting to pull them out of their comfort zone to give them this extra activity really means a lot.
So I am a first-year showman in goats. I really started showing goats only because I loved goats. I didn't know what anything showing goats was about. I didn't know what you had to do. So I just put my name on the list, not knowing anything about it. And the first day of practice, we had to walk nearly a mile with them. We had to learn to break some. I mean, we learned everything that we're doing here today in pretty much a week. And after that, we've just improved. Improved every week. But I really only started because I loved goats. I've always showed horses, and I wanted to expand my knowledge of animals, and showing livestock, starting with the goats, is just something different. The goats was an availability I had at school, and it was something new. I had worked with people who had showed goats before and worked with a fitter before, and so I thought it would be really fun to actually get in the ring and stuff.
Agriculture is really connected. Goat showing is a big part of the meat industry. We all got to eat. Horticulture as well, but also our livestock. It's a great it's an essential component of it. And I said, I want to learn a little more about this side of agriculture, because I would call myself a big advocate of agriculture. I would like to be well-rounded. This might not be my specialty, but I've really enjoyed it ever since I got into it. And I told myself, I go to an agriculture school. It may be the last opportunity I ever get. After I paid the fee, the school has provided everything. They found a lady to lease out the goats to us. They provide feed, medication, everything. I just show up for 2 hours every day and work with my goats, trainer, feeder, everything. So I think not only have I learned a lot about myself and my goat, but I've just learned a lot about agriculture in general and as a whole.
So our kids come to school every day as normal, and then after school they come to the barn with me for about 2 hours every day. So they roughly get in about 15 hours a week with their animals, working, washing, blowing, all the different things. So a lot of the long-term lessons that you get to learn is that this isn't like a normal sport. You get to meet a lot of people and get to make a lot of new friends. I still am friends with several of the people that I grew up showing with, and that makes connections for the kids. They're making networking opportunities. They're also advocating for the industry of agriculture.
Our Goat Show team competing in Abbeville in September of this past year. As our year in review continues, Mrs. Rhodes does tremendous work with the students in our Goat Show program and our horticulture program as well. Of course, the biggest story of 2024 has to be Hurricane Helene. That monster storm that swept across our area felled some 200 trees over our campus. 1,310 acres, more than 200 trees. And generally speaking, we lost power for 10 days. We were shut down. Students went home for the period until we felt like it was safe for them to return to campus. But that is the biggest story, arguably, and I think you'd be safe in arguing that was the biggest story in 2024 as we continue our year in review. And as a part of our coverage of that, which was challenging for our media team because of the lack of internet and the lack of power, but somehow we managed to put together some stories and get them out there on our YouTube channel. Thanks to our friends at Western Carolina who gave us office space over in Abbeville once they got their power restored, which they never really lost power, but we thank them for allowing our Aggie Media department to kind of use their offices as our base of operations. So thank you, WCTEL. One of the most compelling stories from that 2-week period was the story of one of our instructors who made a fateful decision that likely saved her life. And this story actually was picked up, along with several stories around that time, by RFD TV. Here's our look back on Hurricane Helene and the near miss for our equine coordinator, Heather Roden.
In the pre-dawn hours of September 27th, as Hurricane Helene leveled more than 200 trees around the John Delahow campus, one of those trees ripped through a staff residence near our popular equine center. Call it blind luck or divine providence, but the home's usual occupant was off campus as the storm struck, caring for her aging and ailing parents. That decision to ride out the storm with family likely saved the life of our equine coordinator, Heather Roden.
Well, I go to Alabama at least twice a month, just to visit family and to take care of family, and that's the beauty of being an only child. So I had planned on going. I had some coworkers that were like, "No, you're going into the eye of the storm. Do not leave." And I was like, "No, I'm going to be safer in Alabama. I need to head out and get on the road. I can leave a little early since kids have left." So I did that, and it was the easiest trip. Like, even Atlanta, it was just like cruising through. And so Alabama got nothing. I mean, we got no storm whatsoever. And then that morning, I got the call that there was a tree on the house. So I felt like I was in a safe place, and I was with family. I was where I needed to be at that time. And so my hard-headedness paid off in that time, that I did not listen to everybody else. I did what I felt like I needed to do and followed my gut instinct. So I'm glad that I was not on campus. I hate that I was not here with all the efforts to help with cleanup, but with secondary roads and everything, I felt like I was just in the right place at the right time. I mean, it's a house. I can make another house. I can buy new furniture. So those types of things they're things. They don't bother me. All of our animals on campus were safe. All of our horses were accounted for. The fences held pretty well. We have a lot of temporary fencing. That's just something that we're always working on to strive to be better. So I feel like we dodged a bullet. I'm excited they're coming back. I mean, I think our horses are happy they're coming back. I mean, right now they're out there grazing happily, and they probably don't know that they're missing anybody. But we've got some good, sweet bonds with some of our horses and some of our kids this year. We have got some new kids and just new life into the equine center, and they have taken those horses and they treat them as their own. And so I can't wait to see that come back and come back to life and everything, and all of our facilities be used as they should be. We've got kids that are they just want to learn. They're here. They want to, yes, they know their school time and their instructional time and their core classes, but they love being out here, and they will help in all the efforts that we have here to make it better. I think there's some kids that are really ready to be back, and they want to be a part of it. I think that, here I'll see that the kids, they'll get in here and they'll help. I'll have my work-based learning students. I know that they'll come in and they'll be like, "Miss Roden, what's needed? What do we need to do?" That's just the way they are. And I think that we're fortunate to have that here, to have those kids.
Shortly after that story, of course, our students did return to campus and resume studies here. And we are just so thankful that Ms. Roden made the right decision, made the right call, and one that very likely saved her life. Well, October, once the students returned, brought the opportunity to go to FFA Day at the State Fair. And later in October, our Halloween festival was scheduled, but because of the aftermath of the storm and because we lost a couple of weeks of planning, it became a pared down version of our Halloween festival, a Halloween trunk or treat. Nonetheless, our AggieMEDIA reporter Amelia Morris was out at Halloween reporting for us on that Sunday.
The Sunday before Halloween, our annual Halloween Festival takes place here at John Howe. Here's one of our students, Kelly.
Hey everybody. My name is Kelly Tash.
This is Kelly Tash, everybody. What grade are you in, Kelly?
I'm a senior at the South Carolina's Governor's School for Agriculture.
Oh, that's amazing, Kelly. What are you doing here tonight, Kelly, and have you had fun?
I've had an incredible amount of fun. There's so much candy, so many people to meet. It's an amazing place.
Well, we all love candy. Anything else to add, Kelly?
No, nothing else, but come on and check us out.
Check us out. Here are a few scenes from our amazing Halloween festival.
Well, that looked fun. Thank you, Amelia. Come and see us sometime at South Carolina Governor's School for Agriculture.
Amelia Morris and Carson Griggs reporting on our Halloween festival that did happen in late October after the devastation of Hurricane Helene. It was just a pared down version of our fall festival. Well, in early November, in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene, we had a last-minute visit. I mean, this was an emergency overnight visit from the director of the NRCS. He came down with his team from Washington to tour the campus and to get a firsthand look at the devastation here on our campus. And so we were there, our AggieMEDIA team was there to catch up with Terry Cosby and his tour of the John Delahow campus.
Terry Cosby, Chief of the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Natural Resources Conservation Service, and various national, state, and regional NRCS staff visited the John Delahow campus Friday for a first-hand look at damage from Hurricane Helene.
Just seeing the devastation and what a hurricane can do to the natural resources and the environment, and then how do people recover from that? How do you get them back to a state where they're able to go back into their homes and get electricity and also be able to provide for themselves? And that's something that, as we talked, and President Biden has made it very clear to us, is that we need to be out, we need to be able to assess the damage and then say, hey, what available resources are there from government? And I'm here representing USDA, and I think there's a lot of things we can do to assist.
Chief Cosby was at once saddened by the devastation he saw and impressed with the nation's only residential public high school devoted to agriculture.
Well, it's my first time here and learning about the school, and it looks like it serves a big role in the community and across the state. And I understand you have some students from out of state, but it's really important because agriculture is part of the rural fiber of America. And it's great to have students that are interested in agriculture, and then you have a school that they can do it in high school. That's really impressive.
In the diversity of agricultural lands and instructional programs offered at the Governor's School for Agriculture, Chief Cosby saw a world of opportunity for hands-on learning and future careers.
And just look at the diversity here and some of the things that you can study from cropland to pasture to woodlands, and just all of that diversity that it brings. You may have some potential foresters. Understand that you're going to be opening a meat processing plant here. You could have some potential butchers that can go back to their community to help with that. So the opportunity is so great here from what you do, because you do have the diversity where you can train students in so many different areas.
Walking the John Delahow campus transported the NRCS chief back to his youth and the unexpected opportunities he found in the world of agriculture that eventually led him to work in the nation's capital.
As a boy growing up, I didn't have all the video games. I didn't have all of the technology and all the different things. And so I was on the farm, learned about animals from my dad. We were on a cotton farm, and so a lot of hard work and what it took to survive on a 100-acre farm with a family of 8. And so the students here are learning getting some valuable experience. The other thing is transitioning them into maybe potential employees for USDA, or who knows what some of these students might be into the future. One could be Secretary of Ag, could be President of the United States. And so I think you're doing some valuable work here, especially in the world of agriculture.
And in fact, the campus that Chief Terry Cosby saw in November and the aftermath of Hurricane Helene was actually a fairly good-looking campus because of the work that Scott Mims and his crew and our president, Dr. Tim Cowan, did. People pulled together during that time. Our farm staff, our maintenance team, our instructional team, members of our instructional team got out and were cutting trees and getting this campus back into shape so that we could welcome students. So that was November of 2024, and the end of the year was fast approaching, and we had a couple of more interesting stories that really showcased what we're about here at the South Carolina Governor's School for Agriculture. Our Aggie Media team traveled up to Lake Hartwell in the wee hours of the morning to follow our fishing team out on one of their expeditions.
The early hours of Saturday, around 4 o'clock in the morning, in fact, well before the sun came up, members of the Governor's School for Agriculture bass fishing team, their coaches, and faithful parent volunteers gathered at the docks of the Dorn Fishing Facility near the Delahow campus. Their mission, to welcome young anglers from across South Carolina to the SC Bass Nation Youth Tournament Trail event on Clarks Hill Lake. Our Aggie anglers were the host team, of course, and they were prepared to show our visitors from around the Palmetto State the finest in Delahow hospitality. But make no mistake about it, when the sun rose over the Aggies' home waters, they had their game faces on. Their mission, to haul in the heaviest harvest of largemouth bass, and of course, to have a little fun on the lake.
I just get up and fish. We get our boat ready, and then we put it in, and we wait until blast off, whatever time that may be, and just after that we leave and go to our spots.
This is my first year fishing competitively, but I mostly just fished for hobbies before.
Are there things from the competitive soccer world that you bring so far to the fishing world?
I think definitely competitiveness and then definitely perseverance, because you just got to keep on going no matter what happens. So about 3 to 4 years ago, me and Mama was talking on the phone, and she came across a Facebook post, and she was like, "Do you want to do a fishing team?" And I was like, "Sure, but I don't know what I'm getting into." And here I am 3 years later, and it's really competitive. I love it. That's what I want to be my future. You're out there, and there's not a lot of lady anglers. It's growing each year, but it was more of a boy thing for sure. The first season when I came in, we probably had about 3 girls. I mean, I've seen it grow. I've seen probably at least 4 girls this morning, 5 girls. So I'm excited about having more girls, and that's what I try to push on, is getting other females anglers into competitive fishing.
I used to do sporting clays, like shooting tournaments. I did those since I was in like 7th grade, and then I just quit this year to go to fishing. And I was pretty competitive in that. Then when I moved to fishing, since I've always liked fishing, I'm not gonna get too competitive with it, because then for shooting, that kind of ruined it for me. It was being really competitive, so I'm just not gonna be competitive in this one. I just do it for the fun.
So my first objective is that the kids have to keep their grades above 70%. If they don't, they aren't going to compete in the next tournament. So that's number one, the school's policy, and my personal one as well. Number 2 is I want to build a team focus where, even though I've got 2 separate teams, I want them to join as one team. They help each other during practice. For instance, when we started teaching them how to do bait casting, we wanted them that already knew it to help the other ones. And I don't have a team captain yet this year. I'm going to, but I want them to help each other as well. So that's important. Camaraderie, learning respect for the resources, learning respect for the coaches, all that gets rolled into it. So it's a constant teaching.
There might be other young women coming up, future Aggies or whatever. What would you say to a potentially competitive female fisher person?
For sure, start researching, find a local bass club, bass team, whatever is comfortable to you, and you're gonna find that, and it will spark your interest for sure. You'll know whatever instinct you have, and just don't give up on it. You'll have days that you don't catch fish, or it's just you have a bad attitude, but you just have to keep faithfulness.
Are you in it to win today?
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%. I'm ready, and I think we should roll with it.
Who doesn't love a good fishing story? And thanks to Coach Brown and the members of the fishing team for letting our Aggie Media team tag along on that expedition. Well, as the end of 2024 approached, we went from fish to gators. Another story that illustrates the variety of instruction that we encounter here at the South Carolina Governor's School for Agriculture as we take you to the inaugural Gator Wars with our Aggies on the scene.
So here we're competing at the Gator Wars. This is a region contest, so we have 4 different concepts that we're going over. We're going over small engine, drivetrain, electrical systems, and then hydraulic systems. We have 6 rotations that we go through, and we work together as a team to complete them in under 15 minutes. School.
So this is a competition that we held just to get some exposure out for mechanics, get that wordness out. Also, essentially, we are looking for mechanics all the time, looking for technicians, start their career path. So this is the way we get involved through the FFA, the card, looking at opportunities for recent students and graduates as well. So what we're looking at here is we do proficiency skills tests, so it's a little bit more hands-on involved. We work with electrical, so we do some diagnostic testing. We also do some component IDs with electrical. You're also starting to see some proficiency with tools. So then we'll bring in the aspect of using torque wrench, setting up our spark plugs, gapping our spark plugs, and so forth. And the whole idea is just to get more involvement, to get a little bit more awareness out there and get some more interest in technician HVAC.
I mean, the way I look at it, you got your leadership roles, you got behind the table. Because once you come behind that curtain, you still got to be able to be hands-on and get the job done. I'm hands-on today.
This gives the students the opportunity to take what they're learning in the classroom and use it in a competition environment. It gives the student the opportunity to come into a business such as Dobbs, to where they're making those contacts with Dobbs, making those contacts with John Deere representatives, and they're actually competing and taking what they've learned in the classroom and applying it here in a competition setting.
So it really shows like what we've learned in our AggieMEDIA classes and stuff like that. It really shows how you can put it into like real world scenarios and stuff like that. I'm big into electrical and things like that. So everything from electrical wiring, harnesses to, houses, things like that.
This is my first CDE. I was supposed to do trash driving. That got pushed back because of the hurricane. I think it's really cool. I'm glad to be here with a bunch of seniors who are able to show me the way. I'm pretty confident that we're going to do good here. I know a lot of people have been doing stuff, we've been practicing, so I feel confident that we are here and we can take everyone down and get first place.
That's what matters. Having fun and learning things. And that concluded our 2024 coverage of the year in review. And of course, there were exams, and we just got off of the Christmas break, and now begins second semester. 2025 is underway, and having fun and learning things, I'm absolutely certain that will continue into the new year. Thanks for watching our Welcome Back special. Our students have arrived on campus tonight. Most of them have arrived on campus tonight, ready to start this adventure in 2025. And thank you for visiting with us here at the AggieMEDIA Welcome Back special, our Year in Review Part 2. And there will be many, many more stories covered here. We've got our new website as well as our new mobile apps. And so we're going to be posting many, many stories featuring our AggieMEDIA team at work out in the field, telling stories about your South Carolina Governor's School for Agriculture. Happy New Year. Thanks for watching. And keep watching for more great Aggie stories coming up in the new year.